Episode 109 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Support the show at patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. Our supporter of the week is Isaiah. We are also brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/wild to get a free month and a free audiobook. Welcome to episode 109 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dills, and with me is Diggin.
Hey, how's it going?
So this week is the big week. Mobile finally launched, and I would say it was a major success. So we have a lot to talk about just in the regards of mobile launching and first impressions and just kind of what was happening in the first week of it. But we also have a new dev blog talking about some bounty hunter changes to the PvP scene, some general PvP changes, and assortments of different poll questions. But besides that, not much else was really going on, it seemed. But mobile launching was such a big event that it kind of took over everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without further ado, let's get right into it. Before we get into it, let's get into what Deegan, what did you do during this week?
Good question. So, I played a lot of RuneScape.
It's always good.
Yeah, that's about it. Oh, no, I'm kidding. So, I got 98 Slayer.
Oh, damn.
Yep, that's nice. I'm over 2,400 kill count at Serb, so getting real close to that pet.
One day.
Yeah, it's 1 in 3,000. I'm like 600 plus kill count dry on any crystals. So that sucks. But for this last level, because I think I talked about it last week, how I was going to get 98. My goal for 90 to 99 is to slay, but try and get as many bosses as possible. Try and kill as many bosses as possible.
May as well, right?
Yeah, it'll be slow, but I want to make as much money. Ideally, probably not going to happen, but if I could make like 200 mil from this last level, that'd be swell. I'd be on a very good path for my T-bow.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna like minimize the use of my points because I still need to buy 2 helm recolors. So I do want to save up points for that, which sucks. I'm gonna have to do some post 99 Slayer just for the points alone, though.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. See, I was an idiot, and when the Grotesque Guardians first came out, I had like 3,000 points, and I burnt through so many trying to get a gargoyle task.
True.
I regretted it in the end because I could only do like 2 or 3 kills since it was so packed and only a limited amount of people could actually get into the boss room.
Yep. The day one struggles.
Yeah, but I was really hoping I can get in some of that loot, but nope, not this time. So now I've been sitting at like just above 1,000, which I want more. I'm used to having like a shit ton that I could like spend it on anything that I wanted and I don't have to worry. But now if I want to do a helmet recolor, I'm like, oh, it's going to take a bunch of my points.
Yeah. For that update specifically, I actually like got a gargoyle task and then just sat on it for like that week.
See, that's a smart thing. I burnt through it and then I just wasn't getting any of them.
I spent a lot of points like optimizing my Slayer task, or my Slayer blocks, sorry. And I do skip like a decent amount if it's not like an efficient task, I'll skip it. So other than that, what else did I do?
Well, let's go back to your boss, your Slayer bossing, or what you want to be doing. Or how big are you on pet collecting?
Well,
Is that a thing for you?
As of right now, no, but I know it will be in the future. Much like, I don't know, knowing that one day I'm going to like actually really want to max. So I grinded out thieving while Artie Knights was more AFKable.
Fair enough.
So I don't mind bossing because, and I don't like, I need this pet before I can move on. But I do enjoy getting pets, and I can see myself like in the future, like hunting pets specifically.
If you get a pet for a boss, do you feel less motivated to fight that boss? Because that's how I feel. If I get the pet, I'm a little more reluctant to continue on with that task. If I get the Vorkath pet and then I get a Blue Dragon's task, I might do a few kills, but I'm not going to spend my whole task there like I normally would.
So when it comes to pets, I have the Sire, the Abyssal Orphan, and I just hated that boss in general. I always hated me getting the pet. I was like, that's dope, but I really want to finish off this bludgeon.
True.
So regardless, I even if I didn't have the pet, I wouldn't be killing that boss right now. And I also blocked Abbey Demons because that task sucks.
I like that task.
Yeah,
especially with whips being about 3 mil.
Yeah, but when you go like 3,000 dry, it's not that nice. And the task is whatever. Don't want to get into it, but and then Kraken, I have the Kraken pet, but I don't mind still going for it.
That's almost not even a boss.
Yeah, it's free money. That's how I look at it.
Such good money.
Yeah,
and it's so easy to kill. You literally. So if you don't know the Kraken boss, you go to this room. There's like 5 whirlpools. You gotta shoot the small ones first, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, the tentacles come up. You gotta kill the tentacles, and then you don't have to kill the tentacles. You have to make them spawn by shooting the whirlpool.
You use like a magic short bow. You hit all the little pools, and then you can hit the big pool. And so you like spawn the tentacles so they're up, and then you hit like where his body is. His body comes up. Then you just mage it down with like a trident or whatever. Yeah,
there's no mechanics to it. He doesn't really even hit that hard.
Yeah,
he can hit 30s, but
pretty rare.
It's rare.
So like that boss, I don't mind, but I think when it comes to like grotesque guardians, it's not that good of money. It's not good experience. And once I get the pet, it's like okay. I don't like if I'll do I'm better off money and experience per hour just to kill gargoyles.
Yeah,
because you only kill them on task, right? Cerberus, I don't mind that much, so I'd probably continue. And just the chance of getting like a 20 mil drop is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It really does depend on like which boss it is. Like I'll leave like the wilderness bosses until like I'm in that I want to grind for pets mode.
Yeah.
But yeah, typically like it really just depends on like how bad of a boss it is. So I'll get that last level and then I'll just kind of start skilling, I guess, which will be something. It'll be a fun year. And
it'll be a long year.
I did a bunch of other stuff, but I can't think of it now. Nothing too relevant. I guess a lot of it's related to mobile, so I'll just like leave it at that, I guess.
Yeah, we'll wait for that mobile stuff for later.
Yeah, what about you?
Myself, what did I do on RuneScape? Lots of wood cutting when I'm just like AFKing, watching Daredevil and other TV shows. The odd raid here and there. And, well, I decided to level up some of my prayer because I bought Augury. It's 9 mil. That's takes 77 prayer to use, and it's the best magic offensive, I guess defensive prayer there is. Anyways, I had it, and I forgot that I needed 77 prayer for it. So I'm like, you know what? I'll buy 1,000 dragon bones, and I'm going to use those at the chaos altar and level it up. Only took me like 400 of the bones to get to 77. So I still have like 600. I'm actually at 78 now, and I figured, you know what? May as well use the rest of them on there from whenever I feel like doing it and get closer to that 99, because that's the last skill I need to get my combat levels up. I'm getting pretty close to 99 range. I'm doing it passively, just like
cannoning and bossing.
And if I can do a task with range, I will. So I had a Baron Spectres. It's not ideal to use your blowpipe on them because it's going to cost you some money, but I'll just do that because, let's get that 99 range out of the way. And then it's just magic. I'm at 97 magic, like 150k till leveling up, nice. Which I will probably get soon, probably by next episode, because I have a Necrial task, which I'm going to burst. And again,
barrage?
Burst.
You don't ice barrage him?
I guess I should.
Yeah, you should.
Cheap. I don't like having to drop that much money.
Yeah.
Even though it probably... Yeah.
You don't really lose, like on Necrials, like you kind of break even or you make money. Like
you can, unless you're like me and you bring way too many prayer potions every time.
I just bring like 3. Yeah.
I bring way too many, and then I end up like, do I want to keep the rune full helmet or the rune square shield? What am I going to drop?
True. You don't bank or alchem? I don't. You don't have the exploring, do you?
Yeah, so you need to get your elite Lumbridge diaries done to get the explorer's ring, so you can, 30 high elks a day?
Yeah.
So you can get those, but I don't have that yet. So, yeah, it's fun stuff. And then also doing a little bit of crafting. Need to get that 86 crafting, and it's expensive. I'm bouncing between, well, I shouldn't say bouncing between. I haven't done my red dragon hides because I got like 5 mil in the bank, and I really don't want to burn through that getting one level. Kind of sucks to do that.
Yeah, that's a buyable though.
It's fast, but it's hard to watch your money just disappear like that.
Yeah, that's how buyables are though. They're quick, but you lose a lot of money.
But it's for one level. But I decided to start doing air battle staffs. It's about half the experience rates.
Yeah.
Like in like 120 to 150k. But it's a lot cheaper. You're still going to lose some money, but it is a lot cheap. And that was actually brought to my knowledge from someone in the clan chat.
Yep.
So kudos to you for bringing that to my attention.
Yeah, you can use the, OS Buddy has a GP per EXP guide.
Well, it's still going, OS Buddy's still kicking?
Yeah, like their website has that. They have like a little guide that you can type in your skill and it'll tell you like how cost efficient a certain skill is or like what the profit margins or whatever are. And it's always a good thing to reference before you like actually go and start grinding.
Yeah, just kind of bouncing around. I kind of want to just power level out my magic. Not my magic, sorry. I kind of just want to power level out my farming. I'm at like 87 or something, and I just don't do my tree runs as much anymore. And I really should, because I could be getting like a level, at the very least, one level a week.
Yeah.
And that's barely doing it. So might have to look into that, because farming's an easy one. You may as well just start slowly getting that experience so that when you do want that 99, it's not, oh, I gotta wait a month. Even though you don't do much actual farming to get those levels, still.
Yeah.
Still takes some time because you gotta wait for everything to grow. But besides, I think that's it. So let's get into that major news of the week, because it was pretty exciting.
So mobile came out this week. That's pretty much it.
It is, but the aftermath of it is what's kind of exciting to talk about.
Yeah, we had over 120,000 players. That was our peak.
Was it? I didn't see that high.
Yeah.
I saw 110K, but the thing is, was I at school? I might have been at school. I wasn't home though, but I was checking it on my phone, watching the player count just rise. It went from 60K to 70K to 80K to 90K, and eventually it hit 100K.
Yep.
And that is like a huge milestone, right? Because during the Rune Fest, they talked about 90,000 was the highest they hit this year. Whereas, we've already passed that with mobile. We had talked in the past whether or not it was going to have as big of an impact as we had talked about. At least for its initial release, it seemed to do pretty damn well. I was reading on some of the various subreddits, like the gaming subreddit, which just talks about gaming in general. Then there's the Android gaming and the iOS gaming, which is obvious what they're about. Then there's an MMORPG subreddit that I went on to check to see what people are thinking, and it was the response. Like, it was interesting to see people who aren't normal RuneScapers. Sure, you see RuneScapers within those subreddits, this is how you guys should get started. Here's some tips when you play. This is what's so good about the game. But there's a lot of people like, oh, I might want to try this. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Or, so it was really cool to see all of that stuff. And obviously when you go in the MMORPG subreddit, some of them are, game sucks. It's not an MMORPG. It's like, you know what? For you MMO fans out there, I hate to say it, but RuneScape's one of the top MMOs right now.
Yeah.
So look out. They're one of the only games that have, I don't know if it's the confidence, but they will display what their player count is. Most MMOs go out of their way to try to hide how many people are actually playing their game.
Yeah.
That's why when you would look at, like, I remember WoW, and this is going back in like Burning Crusade, they would market their game as like, we have blank million amount of eyes on the game and then blank million amount of counts playing, but they're very vague with it. They didn't say, this is how many concurrent players are playing this year.
Yeah.
Because that can, like, I don't know. If it goes bad, it does not look good. Whereas RuneScape's always been like transparent about it. And right now, with old school RuneScape hitting such high numbers, that kind of is a strength for them, because you can go on the website and be like, is this game dead? Wow, 100,000 players playing at once? That's kind of saying something.
But yeah, with mobile coming out, I did see some common complaints with it, and it was kind of expected. It's things that we'd mentioned in the past. Doing certain things in the game is just awful. And like,
are you talking in general, like agility, or are you talking about specifically on mobile?
On mobile.
Okay.
Yeah. common complaints that I was seeing were just like it's kind of just hard to control character, camera work, like that type of like general thing, just because it's RuneScape, obviously. They have like done a lot of work making it better, especially with like the magic book and everything. In general, I do think that the app itself is really good. There are issues on iOS with batteries being drained. I have a Samsung, and like I've done agility for hours before, and I'm fine.
Yeah. My Google Maps drains my battery way faster. And I mean way faster.
Spotify is like around the same. If I'm listening to music, like streaming it, like not like download it, if I'm streaming music on Spotify and like high quality, that's like the same battery use, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's like a Samsung thing, but I know iOS, everyone I've talked with iOS have issues. Use like the FPS limiter. That's my tip, and it does help. But yeah, there are some things that I guess some of you guys might hate me for saying, but I feel like with mobile coming out, actually, I think I'm jumping a bit ahead. Did you experience like the rush of new players? Like, did you ever hang out in the free-to-play worlds?
Not really. I did a bit of walking around, but I didn't. I saw a bunch of people in the CC, you included, would actually hang out at Lumbridge for like hours at a time, welcoming new players and all that stuff. So I didn't do that, but I saw it and I was watching your screen doing it, and seeing Lumbridge filled up with all these new players, and like goblins was packed. You could not find a free goblin to train off of.
Yeah.
That is a cool experience to see.
The cool thing that I really liked was you would see someone like jump in, and they'd like kind of come and stand in the middle. And they would like, everyone would just kind of go off and rant. Some people just ran a goblin, you see some people go south. And then you see the guy come back, and he's like holding a pickaxe. And you see him go to the furnace and smelt it.
Yeah.
And then you like kind of follow him and just kind of like watch in the distance and be weird. And then he goes, "Where's the anvil? There's no anvil here." And then you'd be like, "Okay, there's one in Draenor Sewers. It's dangerous. But there's one in Varrock. So there's a lot of anvils in Varrock."
All right, we're going to Varrock. Who's coming with me? Everyone piles behind you.
But like, then they'd say, "Well, where's Varrock?" And then I would like say, like, "Are you new or returning?" Because you don't want to be like super condescending, right? "Oh, I've played this game in 3 years." Well, to Smith, this is how I know how to fucking Smith. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, like, "Are you new? Whatever. Or are you returning?" Blah 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 blah. And then you like go and bring them there, and they're like, "Oh, cool, thanks." And you just go back to Lumbridge. But I made it like a pretty big point to like every day to just like go there and just however long I wanted to hang out with, like at Lumbridge with people and like offer advice and help and stuff. I would make a point to do that every day for a bit, and it would always turn into like I did it for 3 or 4 hours.
Because it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's really good to like re-experience the game like vicariously, like through like other people.
Because that was the problem with like old school RuneScape. When it first was released, it was fun to see everyone flood into the game, and they're all low levels, but everyone...
You see guys like fletching on their way to like do Cook's assistant, like making arrows. Yeah, like they're being hyper efficient.
They knew what to do, and a lot of things became common knowledge. We're just like, how do I do this? Well, you should go in the wiki, because you should know how. Everyone knows how to do this.
Why are you buying law runes here? Go on Zybaz, idiot, or go to Varrock if you want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's like all the bots doing those weird like merchanting scams. Like it was really fun, but it was like Wild West, where like if you knew how to play old school, you were like rushing Abbey demons to the point where the tentacle whip had to come out because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many people were just camping Abbey demons so early on in the game.
But then now you have these new players who don't even know what law runes are or what a whip is.
How to like navigate, how to run, like really basic. Sometimes it got frustrating. Obviously, you'd ask them a question, or like they'd ask something, you're trying to help them, and they just like look at the phone, like I'm giving, you know what I mean? How do you run? And then you like explain, okay, well, there's the run globe, but obviously I'd go into like heavy detail. And then if they struggled, okay, go to the options. There's a run there as well. And they're like, well, what's the option? It's the wrench looking icon. I don't see it. You know what I mean? There was obviously frustrations that came with it, but in general, I would go there for like 30 minutes. I was like, my goal was to go there for 30 minutes, but I ended up like spending the majority of my time playing RuneScape, like actually going there. And then I took like, I think I'm at like 7 new players right now I've been helping out. Hate to say it, but like only 2 of them are still playing. Maybe they just will jump on randomly when I'm not on.
Well, that's the thing with mobile. You're going to get a lot of people who are playing it
in short bursts, I assume.
Yeah, that's what mobile gaming excels at. When you're on the toilet, you're commuting on the bus to work, maybe you're on break, maybe you have an hour to kill in between class.
Yeah, so
it's not so much like there are some people who are like, they get home, I'm going to go sit on the couch and play on my phone for the rest of the night.
Yeah, no, but there's some people that, but there are some people that like would ask questions, and like one guy made an Iron Man not knowing what an Iron Man was. Now he's stuck with it for a week, so he just quit. I'm like, dude, did you not read, like, what... I didn't say this to him, but, like, come on, did you not read what you're opting in for? It tells you. Why would you, like, go and talk to this extra NPC and opt in? Like, a lot of that stuff. Or, you know, just make a new account. But there are weird things, like, I was being told that if you made your account through Game Center, the app, you can't play on PC without doing some weird way to link your account to Jagex. That's what I had a couple people tell me.
Weird.
And also, I don't know under what circumstances, but the vanilla RuneScape client crashes a lot, apparently. I had one of my real life friends return to the game, and I had one of the two people that are on like pretty frequently. Like I see them on every day for hours at a time. They both were like, what the fuck? I can't play this game on PC. And I'm like, what do you mean? And like, I downloaded it off the website and it crashes all the time. And so I'm just like, RuneLite, baby. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm going to tell them to use RuneLite. I'm like, it's safe. I use it. Everyone, like, honestly, the majority of the player base uses it on PC. If you're having issues, just download that. Give them like the direct link as best you can, because Jagex asterisks everything.
Yep.
But that was what was worrying me. Was that like, if someone was like, oh, like mobile's not that, my phone's gonna die. Let me just go on the computer and they like download a client. I don't know how common of an issue it is. I don't know if anyone else has experienced like the vanilla client, like straight up like hard crashing, like not responding and then crashing.
The thing is, I've never heard anyone complain about it, but then again,
everyone I know uses a third party. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that only uses vanilla.
I'd imagine it had to be. I'd imagine that must be like some sort of freak incident where like
between two different people though. That's the thing.
I don't know, because the J mods, some of them use their original client.
Exactly. Yeah.
You think if it crashed on them, they wouldn't be like, "Hey guys, by the way." So yeah, I'm not too sure. And you know, the standard client, the official client, that's kind of an issue we have talked about a few times, where it is lacking in so many different ways. It would be nice for them. I would love to not have to use a third-party client.
Yeah, but if they were to change that, like they'd have to just buy RuneLite. You know what I mean? Like RuneLite makes my life so much easier. There's
so many good things with it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm coddled a little bit too much. I guess bring it back to mobile players though. I noticed a lot of the same questions because, okay, so this is what I would do. I would log onto a world. Okay, first I'd spend like 30 minutes making a cool fashionscape outfit, right?
It's important.
Obviously.
You can't be a Sherpa if you're not decked out in some sweet gear.
My goal was like trying to look cool as fuck. So people go like, dude, that's fucking sick. You know what I mean?
Give me some money.
Never. I mean, I did hand out rune sets, but it was always to people that were like...
Rune sets?
No, sorry, not rune sets. Iron sets.
I was going to say, that's... Oh.
Here's some rune sets. No, sorry. I would hand out iron sets to people that like were interested in RuneScape in terms of like... They would be like, man, you look cool. What should I do? What is there to do? Like, they'd ask questions, and they'd be like, oh, I don't know how to do this. So, like, I would walk people through Cook's Assistance. Be like, okay, well, there's a quest in this castle named, like, it's called Cook's Assistant. So, if you, like, go in the castle, grab that quest, and I'll be right here if you have any questions. And then sometimes they'd be like, no, I can figure it out. And they'd go off and do it on their own. They might come back 20 minutes later and go, this all the time, how the fuck do you get a pot of flour? You know what I mean? You have to go to the silo, put in the hopper, operate the controls, like all that stuff.
Go to the GE and buy a pot of flour.
Yeah, like those kinds of people, like, you know, that were actually interested in exploring the game or whatever, I would like walk with them. And then like, if they were to like do a couple quests or wanted to do more, I'd be like, hey, extra little reward, you know, here's an iron set. Yeah, because I really don't think it's a good idea just to hand out items to people as they get on.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a second because that raised a question on the subreddit earlier this week. But
true.
You did seem to take the role as the Lumbridge guide.
It was actually really nice, though, seeing how many people got off like the island, and then they would run straight to the Lumbridge guide and talk to him for a bit.
Yeah, you showed me a picture of a guy reading the newcomer's map.
Yeah, a lot of people you see reading the newcomer's map, be like, this fucking map sucks.
Yeah,
like,
there's a world map in the corner, but they're like, no, there's too much going on in the world map.
Yeah.
I need like 4 words on my thing that's like, go north to go to here, go to here.
But like, I don't know, it was like a lot of fun. Meet like a lot of interesting people, some funny stories. Like one guy, we just like wandered for a fucking long ass time. He just was like, oh, let's go over here. So like follow him. And at one point we end up at Edgeville.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously I'm like, all right, so there's a ditch up here. Don't cross it, because once you cross it, you enter a PvP zone.
And he's crossing it.
And he crosses it. But I know there's like 2 or 3, spaces of, you're right. So I go and stand there, and then I immediately see him like try and attack me. And he's like, I can't hit you. I'm like, yeah, we're not in a PvP zone, and I'm way too high of a level.
Yeah.
Like, come on, I'd fuck you up.
It's not some safe. I bet you a lot of people come in like, oh, PvP, you're just going to die. You're not going to lose. No, you lose your gear.
But then the next day, he sends me a message. Yo, so I went out in the wilderness, saw some guy, killed him, got 2k iron arrows.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, that's fucking nice.
And a common complaint, and I'm sure it's going to die down soon, but common complaint people had about the wilderness is that everyone's just so good. Anyone who's PKing, they know how to PK. Well, this influx of players that just want to go out and fight, it's going to bring back like the throwback days.
Yeah.
Where you could go find someone who had no idea what they're doing, and they're going to attack you.
Yep. But yeah.
That won't last long. Yeah,
he was explaining to me, he was like, man, it felt so good. Or he said, I felt so bad, like killing him, and then like ... but it felt so good. I'm like, nice. You're getting it. That's PKing right there.
Felt so wrong, but felt so right.
You feel shitty because that person like lost everything, but then you're like, yeah, but it's mine now. Like fuck that guy.
I earned this.
Yeah,
paid with iron. So
yeah.
What did the Greyjoys say in Game of Thrones?
I don't know. Game of Thrones is stupid.
Whoa.
Yeah, medieval mystical magic stuff. That's dumb.
We're gonna have to cut this show short.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There was like a lot of questions that I think like that there are a lot of concerns that I think Jagex should address, because there's a lot of common issues I was bumping into, such as people not understanding the death mechanic at all. The amount of people I saw die and then just like, I'm done with this game, I'm dead, I lost everything. I'd be like, wait, hold, whoa, no. Like,
yeah,
you have an hour to get your shit. Where'd you die? And they'd give me a vague description. I'm like, okay, let's go find your shit. And there's like, I had to bring one guy to Alcrad Mines, and I'm like killing all the scorpions so he can pick up all of his shit. And it's like a mission to like help this noob like get into the mines, get his stuff, and like get out.
You're doing an escort quest.
It's actually like, dude, it was so fun. Like, I really enjoyed just hanging out, helping people. The one thing I'm pissed about was the most attention I got was when I was in full Ancestral the Magic Cape. And I'm just like, I'm flexing like 500 mil on people or 400 mil.
None of the costumes did it, but it's the big ticket items.
Yeah, I had this one costume where, I won't describe it, but it looked fucking sick that some people liked. But like, that one got the most attention. I was kind of pissed about it, because I'm like, man, I feel like a fucking asshole. I'm in full like Ancestral and like how rich I am, but no one knows. I had people make fun of me saying like nice credit card just because like they thought like I bought like a costume.
They're straight off Tutorial Island, just like, wow, pay to win much?
Yeah, like people straight up thought that like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people that thought RuneScape just came out, and they're like, how are you level 126? The game came out today. And you're like, oh buddy, this game's been out for like 5 years, and I've been playing it. Like,
yeah,
yeah, no. This is not a new game for me.
Wait till you get to the member zone.
Yeah. But all in all, like, a lot of good fun, good experiences. A lot of things I noticed where I guess we'll talk about later with that stuff, but like that people giving out items and stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, you helping a bunch of people, which is nice to see again. I saw some people in the CC also doing that as well. I know there's a point where there's like you and like 4 other people all at Lumbridge.
Yeah.
All just hanging out there. Some of the wild boys repping.
Yeah. The one thing I thought was pretty cool is this one person, I was hanging out in this one world, and this one person would like come back periodically and say like, buying 4 bones in a goblin mail, 1k, and like a magic amulet or amulet of strength. And then people were like, I'm on it. Please don't sell it. Or please don't buy bones and stuff. I'll go, and then you'd see them like actively like trying like,
to race.
Yeah, and then so I started doing the same with like, I need 10 logs. Who's got 10 logs? I'll trade you like a set of iron for them, which turned out, even though the prices got inflated to like $4K for an iron set at one point.
Damn.
Yeah, people
Some
making
good
bank.
money, yeah.
People making fucking bank.
Flipping iron sets.
Actually, though,
And I bet you all of it's coming from people handing it out.
yeah, that's the whole thing. Is that, and I had a stockpile of iron sets like last year when it was like first initially supposed to be released, and I just said fuck it. Same with Goblin Mail. That was earlier this year. I sold off my Goblin Mail, but I kind of wish I held on my sets. Would have made bank,
Made
but
some good money.
yeah, I'd be like, who's got to, like, give me 10 logs, I'll trade you an iron set, and then I would like go find someone and like, hey, can you cook? I have these like raw beefs or raw rat meats. Can you cook these for me? And like, yeah, sure. So I give them all those supplies and they'd cook it, give it, well, whatever. They burn half of them, but like, thanks, give them an iron set. You know what I mean? Like, just get people to actually like do random shit, go to the mines and ask to like trade, which you can't trade tin and copper. I found out
You can't trade
when
at
you're
all
like
when you're a low level.
you can trade just specific items you can't trade: oak logs, cow hides, tin and copper, shrimp, like the resources and stuff. You can trade bones. You can trade like goblin mails. I bought like goblin.
I thought they
mails.
had like a certain time limit or total level before they could.
They
trade.
have it's 24 hours or 7 quest points for key items that are highly botted.
Oh,
Yeah, that's how it works.
interesting. So yeah, it's cool. Influx of players and a funny event, and you're probably gonna hate that I'm bringing this one up, but
Yeah, maybe.
one of the people you helped ended up making a post on the subreddit. 'Cause I guess you lost him or something.
I didn't lose them.
You just logged off for the night then.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, good luck.
Yeah, and he made a
Piece the
post
fuck
saying
out.
like thank you and all that stuff and
Mhm.
whatever, and then in the comments it was a big. We had a lot of people being like, "Oh, good job!" Like,
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
pats on the back, and then you had other ones going down like, "No, this is an inside job. He made that account so he could farm karma on this
Yeah.
website." A lot of people were like,
been on
"There's-"
Reddit for like goddamn 5-6 years, and now this is my time to get my karma.
So you'd go through it, and people were like, "No, this is fake. This has all been set up. You guys are all idiots for falling
Yeah.
for this." And then you'd have someone being like, "What the hell? You guys are fucked. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell is wrong with you?"
Someone sent me a PM. Oh man, I got a lot of like inboxes that were like, there's something. There some of them were pretty fucked up, but some dude was like, you smell the expletive, like very racist. I'll just say that, very racist, saying that like, I'm so stupid for trying to trick people. There's obviously, it's like he made a post and then you comment in the same hour, and I'm just like thinking to myself, okay, you can go on my Reddit account and see the timeline of, I made a post on Reddit of like, look at this wacky thing I bumped into in the Grand Exchange. And it's that dude with the ornament fans with the 50 bots
Yeah,
that like run around the GE. And then one of the comments is like, dude, I just read this story and it turned out the guy's talking about you. Click the link and it's that guy's post. And I'm like,
that's where I saw. It was on Discord where someone's like, "Yo, look, it's Deegan."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious."
I didn't even like, yeah, someone told me about it. I was like, hey man, yeah, I'll add you up. Cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Small world, I guess. And then my
Yeah.
favorite comments: "Wild Boys reppin'."
Yeah, I saw a lot of that. I got some PMs being like, hey,
Oh, that's
RCC is
gnarly.
going to do the same thing. And you're like, nice. That's what it's all about, you know, just like helping people out. The main thing is that like everyone has good memories of old school, like when like, they're
Yeah.
like new. And it's just like that. Like, just like, it's not like, yeah, some guy gave me 100K when I first got it, and that's nice. But then it's kind of like nice to like remember, like, I still remember like dudes showing me around as a newbie, you know what I mean? Kind of like paying it forward. And then you find out that like this guy that I helped is like now helping out this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like noobs kind of just like kind of start helping each other out, and they're all like just interacting. It's like all about the social aspect, I guess, of the game.
Yeah, it's I feel like some of the most memorable moments that people have is when they're a noob and they just look back on, "Oh, I can't believe I was so stupid to do this," or they just seem to stand out more so than like memories that we have today. Although there are like, you'll still have them, right? You'll have those like fun times, but it's usually spent with you're hanging out with friends in game. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll have an event and we're all having a lot of fun and whatever it is. But you don't have as many genuine moments of like the time when
Bumped
I got
into Zesma or something.
bumped into Zesma, or I got scammed like 4 times in a row in a week.
Nice.
Trust trades.
Yeah. Hey, one of them will pan out.
Hoping
Yeah.
the 5th one. That's where I got cut.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was like really adamant on is before I just left them. I was like, okay, check this out. People are gonna try and scam you in like 30 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you like almost immediately after I leave, you're susceptible to losing your account pretty much. Like, I'm like, obviously I'm not saying that like heavily, but I'm like, there was something I kept saying that like if someone's being generous, they're not gonna expect anything of you.
Yeah.
Because that's not being generous, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If someone's just trying to be generous, like they'll just be, here you go. Here's like 100K or, you know.
Yeah. Now if they give you 100K and they're like, add me because you owe me something in the future.
Well, not even that. It's like, I'll double your money, but give me the money first. Like, you're not being, why, if you're going to be generous, why do you have to trust them? Or why is there like a trust issue? Like, why do you have to give someone something for them to
It
be
doesn't
kind?
make sense.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So just kind of like, there's a lot of great players, a lot of really nice players, but because of that, you get a lot of scummy people trying to pretend to be those players, and like, easiest way to tell is that like a nice person won't expect anything of you.
Yeah, exactly. They'll just do something because.
Yeah.
This brings us to actually handing out items, where handing out iron sets is like one thing. Now, what do you think about people handing out like a starter kit of here's adamant and rune, and here's 50K, and here's 10K worth of runes. Now you're set. Don't have to worry about gaining any of these items. Just go train.
Speaking from experience and like EVE Online and stuff, kills the game. Makes the game not fun. I had some dude give me like 7 bill plat, which is like 3 bonds worth.
Okay.
So like whatever bonds prices are at this moment, because the plat is like
Plex, right?
Plex is the I'm getting all my fucking shit mixed up. It's been a while since I've played EVE. But,
Too many games going on.
But the equivalent of like 3 bonds or something at the time.
Yeah.
And that game was just me in like the way EVE you level, you have to like train like a skill over time. It's not like RuneScape where you have like, I want to level mining, you level mining. It's like you go into a skill tree and you're like, I want to train this. So then you like click it, in 15 minutes you're done, you get a level. And in 2 hours, so it turned into, if I actually want to start utilizing this money properly, I did the math, it's a 3-month waiting period. Mm-hmm. So I have to find things to kill. I have to kill 3 months and hope I like that, you know what I mean? And like that, I have nothing to, like, let me go mine. I don't need to mine up for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, so like that killed it for me. So pretty much saying it's not a good idea.
Generally, it depends on who it is, of course. A rune set for one person might motivate them. Oh, I can't wait to wear this. Whereas some people, they'll like, oh, cool, I can't wait to wear this. Now they can wear it, and they're just like, well, I'm bored. You know what I mean? It might kill them a bit. I know that's the problem with like the duel arena, is that people get bills, and they buy all the best gear, and they're just like,
I've never PVM before, now what?
Yeah, now what? I'm not going to go start raiding, because what's the point? I'm just going to keep staking until I get more and more money, and it's just, their game gets kind of killed for them. And it's the same with me. Like, I always think, like, if someone offered me like a scythe, obviously I'd want to take it, but part of me, like, I don't know if I'd want to, if I bought all the best gear, then what do I have to work towards?
That's another scythe.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's
I mean,
this game is very goal driven, and if somebody gives you your goal for you, like achieves it for you by giving you stuff, it's not the same. And same with I remember when I gave away my old account to someone else, and they trained it to like max stats, and they like offered, hey, you can have this account back, and I was like, I don't really want it back, because everything's done, and I don't want just a good account. I want an account that I've built. I don't know. I just want to build. This game's all about grinding, and if the grind's already done, really, what's the point?
Yeah. So I think if you're like completely fresh to the game, and someone gives you like a rune set, it's not even like, well, I guess we'll say rune set, 'cause it's like kind of end game. But like if you get given like a rune set and you like just got off the block, where like I would see people give like a set, like an iron set boxed.
Yeah.
And they go, what the fuck is this box?
Yeah.
And then you have to go to the Grand Exchange. I have to go, where is that? What is that? It's in Varrock. How do I do it? You have to teach, like the amount of times that I teach someone to use a Grand Exchange. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it's like, go to the clerk, go to the blue guy. There's the exchange, there's history, there's set, exchange. Okay, you see those boxes? Those are buy-ins, like literally step by step, like the whole make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like with a robot type thing. You have to give like some people like needed very, very specific like steps on how to do everything. because like they're like I have like there's people that came up to me, or there's someone, not people, that had like literally Iron, Steel, Myth, Addy like sets, like in boxes, and they have all their melee gear done for them, and they're like, now like, okay, you know what I mean?
But they train to wear them, yeah.
But they don't even know how to like get the actual items out of the box.
Yeah.
We're like, so it kind of creates more frustration.
And plus, it's like, you give someone 10K. Again, it depends on who it is. Some people might like, oh, this is good, great starter money, because 10K, it's not a lot, but it's enough to kind of buy you your items. But it might cause them to go, now that they need 20K, well, someone give me 20K.
I feel like the difference there is how much they know about the game.
Yeah.
So if you have like a general idea of RuneScape, and you're like, yeah, oh, I used to watch my like brother play it, or my friends used to play it, and they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I kind of get that. But if you're like fresh off the block and you have 25 gold, and then someone gives you 10,000, like that difference, you're like, what the fuck? I have all this gold, and they kind of freak out, and you're like, oh, look how cute it's only But then for them, they're like, I mean, they might waste it, or like probably instantly die and go like, shit, I don't have it anymore. This game sucks. I'm never gonna get that much money again. I'm gonna go beg and ask people for money. Like,
yeah,
I think a lot of it is just like when it comes to like how experienced they are with just MMOs and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's why like I felt bad. Like, I handed out a few iron sets, like straight up. Like, I talked to some dude to be new, and I give him one, and then I'd feel bad being like he's not gonna know how to make money. And there's like a lot of people that were like, now what do I do? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, okay. There's some people that were like, yo, I got a bunch of like bronze medium helmets. I got a couple daggers, a couple swords. Who wants them? And they're like a level 8, and they're like, I'm going to be the blacksmith of Lumbridge. And you're like, give him full iron, be like, blacksmith's got to look his best. I'm like, dude, that's fucking sick. I'm like, man, no, you're fucking sick. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's making like bronze shit and then just like handing it out to new players because he wants to be known as like the Lumbridge blacksmith. Like, yeah, that's fucking awesome to see. Like, that, like, true story. Like, you see like a lot of like really cool stuff happening, which is why I was super skittish of like I wouldn't give out strength amulets.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things I specifically avoided because like you want someone to figure that out down the road.
Because then they have a goal. They're like, I want a strength amulet. How do I get one? Do I make one myself? Do I go buy one? I got to figure out how to make the money.
I think the biggest thing to like truly enjoy RuneScape is like the feed a man a fish thing, where like you could give someone items, like that's cool, but like honestly, if they wear full iron and go fight a rat right off Tutorial Island, they're gonna die.
True.
I'm not even kidding. Like, they actually will, like, they'll fight like a giant rat, and they'll die after the second one. I'm not like I've seen it happen, and then they go like, now what? And he's like, then you have to explain like the death mechanic, which I have some suggestions for, because like it's actually like a lot of people are quitting because of it, or like bitching about the whole like.
So how do you think they could redo the death mechanic? Because they do plan on changing it. They want to give like a tombstone where you have to pay 50K to get your items back.
Yeah.
How do you think they should introduce this to new players? Do you think they should have to die on Tutorial Island at some point?
Yeah. That's actually a better suggestion than what I was going to say. I honestly feel like when you enter new areas, like, you know, when you first start the game, and there's I'm experienced, I'm a veteran, I played a little bit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it asks you what's your experience with the game.
Yeah, none, some, a lot, pretty much.
And that's mainly for Jagex to know
data collecting.
Yeah,
but
that's all it is.
I honestly feel like it should have an effect during first encounters in the outside world. So you go to the Grand Exchange for the first time, cutscene happens, and it explains how the Grand Exchange works. Like, the death mechanic, honestly, what I was thinking to add on to that would be like, you died, but it would like explain cutscene, or like you go to like a death's door type thing, and they explain, okay, you died, it's okay, you have an hour to get your stuff back, or whatever the current mechanic is at the time. Go back there, you know, like really make sure that they understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like you actually have to die on Tutorial Island. And then
you can do both, right?
Yeah, because
I like the idea of, if you're a brand new player, it's gonna like walk you through things more. Like, you get out of Lumbridge, once you walk into the Grand Exchange, then like the cutscene idea. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think the main thing is that the game is so dated. Like, the game, like, RuneScape really does come from another time, where if you were playing RuneScape back then, it was like typically your first MMO, you're young, most people quit. Some of us stayed around for like,
There's a lot of people's first online game.
Yeah. And so we didn't have luxuries playing WoW or stuff where like WoW, isn't so like, you know what I mean? It's pretty forgiving game in general. Like, just if you're a mobile gamer, they're all extremely forgiving as long as you have money.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that like there's like a lot of really dated things where the tutorial is like, this is how you cook, this is how you cut wood, make fires, this is how you mine, this is how you attack stuff, go out there. And then you're like, but there's so much more to the game than just that. Like there's people that like don't, either they're not reading it because they just see it as like a wall of text, but they don't know how to start a quest, and they don't know how they've known they've started the quest. They don't know how to add friends, which maybe it's just technological, like they're just like being like dumb or not taking the time to figure it out, and they're just asking questions because they don't want to figure it out. But there's like a lot of things where like if you were to like how, you know what I mean, like if you were to play this game you've never played before, you die and lose all your shit, like do you really think to go back to your body and pick it up? Or what if you're a returning player and you think it's the same death mechanic from before?
Yeah, that's the big one because it has changed.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of things, like common themes that like I was seeing where people just like, well, that sucks. Every time you die in this game, you have to restart. What the fuck? No, this isn't Dead Man mode. What are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like if they are going to be adding some tutorial to the death mechanics, it will be when they revamp the death mechanic again, because they would want to do that, right?
Yeah.
When they add the tombstones in, maybe they should add some to the tutorial island. Unfortunately,
it wouldn't pass.
It would. You miss on these influx of new players coming in. Because there's a lot, and there still is a lot, right?
But yeah, there's like a lot of like little things. I think like one thing Jagex should do is emphasize, like in tutorial or even when you get off, maybe even just add more dialogue to the Lumber's Guide, that it's very like it's a journey. Like RuneScape isn't just about leveling up and making money. It's about meeting friends, and you know what I mean. Like
it's a world. It's not most MMO games. You're like this hero, right? You're like this special person in this world who's going to go defeat these monsters and maybe save someone or whatever it is.
Save the world, save a town, whatever it is.
Whereas old school RuneScape, it makes you feel more like you're not a hero yet. You might be like a hero, but there's hundreds of thousands of, you know what I mean? You're just another soldier.
You're an adventurer, yeah.
You're an adventurer, yeah. You're just walking around, because this game really is modeled after like, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons a bit, right? Where you're just person.
Yep.
That's what they really wanted, where you can do whatever you want to do in this game for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it's done very well in that regards, but yeah, if you're coming from another MMO, you're not going to realize that. You know what I mean? Like, go meet some friends, because
it's all about the experience, but like, yeah, people just were like, what do I do? And you get in these really weird conversations of like, well, what do you want to do? And they go like, I want to play RuneScape.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, like, what would interest you in the game? And they go like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like, man, you're not supposed to do anything. You do what you want. And that's how you set like goals and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the hard thing, is that you can do whatever you want. And I think their idea of it is that when you're a new player, you're just like, ideally as a new player, what you want to do is just learn what you can do. Right? You're like, I can cut this, I can go do this, I can level up. Let's level up some more.
Yeah. Oh my God, you hit level 15 woodcutting. You get infinite trees now. People were saying, like, by El Corral, there's an oak tree.
Yeah,
right by the
yeah.
gate. There were people saying, this tree is infinite. It gives you infinite logs. And this guy was like, what? I'm like, I've gotten 6 logs from this oak tree. And then eventually it cuts down. Like, oh shit, that's just how it works. It wasn't bugged. Like,
yeah.
You get to see all that, like, really cool, like, interesting, like, progression or thought process of like someone grinding to get like,
it's people stumbling through the game.
Yeah,
kind of like what we had to do. Overall, the app seemed to have been a major success.
Yeah, #1 for a bit.
Yeah, #1 across. Now, although with Canada it's a bit different, because we did have, it was released a month earlier, basically.
Yeah,
in a closed beta, but still in the top of the charts. In the US, it was the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is very important for people who are constantly looking for new games. They'll find it, they'll see it there, and they're going to try it out. So that's pretty good. The reviews have been pretty good. The only negative reviews usually are,
my account is gone.
My account's gone. I got to start over again.
I got phished or scammed. Typical.
It's problems that they occurred, not so much the game itself. So a lot of for overall though, it's like in the high 4 out of 5 stars. It's like 4.7.
Yeah, 4.5 like and above.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, the only like actual complaint that I saw that like had merit was this game's pretty hard to control, and I found that like I was kind of forced to do certain things because it's just easier. Like, you know what I mean? Like managing the game can be difficult at times.
It's kind of, yeah, it's just kind of how it's going to be, especially when you are competing with people on the PC client.
Yep.
Yeah, not much you can do there, but hey, looking at the numbers right now, we're at 116,000 concurrent players.
Yep.
So it's not like we just peaked and we just stayed, we
were at 120 earlier today.
Yeah, which is cool to see, but it's just like the app's been out for a couple days now, right?
Yep.
And we're still hitting those numbers, so there are still either people still coming into the game, or a bunch of people are sticking around, or this allows, as you had assumed or you had guessed before, that a lot of people who do play RuneScape already, they can now play it more often.
Yeah.
Which is probably a big factor too, but still, seeing it above 100,000 players is pretty awesome to see. But yeah, that's basically the aftermath of it. There have been some fun things that I've been seeing just post on the subreddit and stuff, like a bunch of people using the Ring of Coins and going to the Dark Wizards and just using it. So if you don't know, it'll transform you into a pile of coins. So new players walking by, I mean, it's kind of shitty, but it's funny at the same time. Very trolly.
Oh, yeah.
So these new players walk by, see all these stacks of coins on this mound. They go up there and they're just going to get destroyed by these Dark Wizards.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the data is going to be when they, maybe in a couple weeks or a month from now when they say these many new players made accounts from mobile, these many players
stuck around
or died from the Dark Wizards.
Yeah.
Pretty good. What are your overall thoughts of the launch of the mobile client?
Better than expected.
Yeah.
I kind of assumed, like, obviously there's going to be, like, a lot of new players, but, like, so, I don't know if we mentioned, but for preparation of mobile being released, Jagex had a bunch of extra free-to-play servers.
That's right, and a few members.
Yep. And, like, most free-to-play servers had, like, 1,000 players in it.
Yeah, I'd seen that, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, and you go into each world, and there's, like, just flooded with new players.
Yeah.
Like, so many everywhere. It was, really nice to see. I didn't expect that many people to, like, yeah, I've never played RuneScape. I don't even know what it is, but I'm trying it out now, Yeah. So, yeah, better than expected.
Yeah, it worked out well. I think Jagex did a really good job. This was a great choice. I mean, we all knew it was going to be a good choice to have, but that was more for our selfish needs for the game. But the fact that this brought in so many other new players, like, I would have loved to be in their office on the day of release. You can tell that they're all just sitting there watching what the hell is going on.
Looking at their servers, be like, please don't crash. Please don't crash. Please don't crash.
Don't want a Diablo 3 moment.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to move on to our next bit of news, but if you're a returning player because of the mobile client, let us know. What are some of the things that you got onto? What are the struggles you noticed with the mobile client? I'm interested to hear opinions on everything that, come with mobile. Maybe you're a veteran player and there's some things you prefer to do on mobile over the PC client. But anyways, yeah, let's move on to the dev blog that has to do with PvP changes and some pulled questions.
Yeah, and the bounty hunter, PvP changes, and then some unrelated polls. So the majority of these bounty hunter and PvP changes that they've kind of proposed are unpolled.
So they're kind of like
they're balance issue, or they're balancing certain things in PvP.
Okay, which is kind of fair to do. It's hard to pull.
You can't pull balance. They've said that before.
So this is technically a game integrity change.
Yeah, well, they're balancing stuff. This isn't the RuneFest stuff. That's just the one thing I want to get out there. So don't get too excited.
Bounty hunter bounties. I think that's what they're going to be calling it.
So first off, they want to make a change to the overlay just a little bit. They want to make it more functionable. They want to change the functionality by allowing you to have like the overlay on the left, right, or middle of the screen, and you can also have it collapse. And this will only be on... Oh, wait, no, sorry. The left, right, and middle would be on desktop, and then the collapsing overlay would be on both the mobile and desktop clients.
Okay, so the overlay is the thing that'll tell you what your target is in the bounty hunter world.
Yep. What emblem, what they're risking.
Yeah, how much money they have. And then it tells you kind of like your kills to death ratio, sort of. Basically just kills. How many kills in a row you can get as a bounty hunter. Or a rogue, which is when you kill someone who's not your target.
So, since they implemented the option for players to toggle the ability to receive bounty hunters past level 10, which once toggled on caused players to only get targets in the level 1 to 10, they've been aware of several problems that have been happening in the bounty hunter targeting system. I guess players are getting, there's some issues that would happen. The wilderness has always been farmed due to the concept of risk versus reward, but when you fight someone, you don't actually know what they're risking typically, especially if you're a pure.
It'll say like high or very high or low, but what does that mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it is possible to skip these lower value targets. It's more often than not, you'd kind of be stuck in like a 30 minute or like a 3-minute limbo trying to find another target. It was high risk, high reward. No, but it would be pretty annoying. And yeah, if you just skip too many times, you kind of got screwed. So they want to improve this by allowing players to freely skip targets if they aren't risking a mysterious emblem.
Right, yeah. If you bring a mysterious emblem, which is what you use to get PvP points, I think it's called. Anyways, you get the points, you can buy various things, but the most sought after reward is the rune pouch. That's what mostly everyone goes for at some point. So anyways, the emblem, if you have one in your inventory and you kill someone, it upgrades.
Yeah, if you don't have one, then you are free to skip targets. That's what they would like to implement. And I don't really know how I feel about that.
Now, I think it's saying you can skip your target if your target doesn't have a mysterious emblem.
Yeah, sorry. What was I saying?
I think that if the person who's skipping...
Okay, yeah. We'll go on, because there's some more things that are... it'll all tie together. So in addition to that, they'd also like to make it so that players are able to freely skip their target if they don't have a PvP skull. If their target is unskulled. Because if you ever try PKing in common pure brackets, you'll find dudes that are wearing 30-40 mil worth of gear that's really good, but they're not going to skull. They're going to make you skull or skip them. You find that dickhead in full bandos, 4-iteming.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, he's going to kill me. He's got D-claws, full bandos, and a torture, and a whip. Okay, if I kill him, I got a whip. If I smite him, that's nice, but... let's be real, I'm in a Zerker outfit.
You're in a big disadvantage. You really have to pull something off to win.
Yeah.
Sure, you might get more money than if he kills you. Chances of you killing him versus him killing you are a lot lower.
Yeah, and it's pretty unfair, and it's just kind of dickish, especially where there's some pure accounts that revolve around not sculling, where they'll purposely have, 13 prayer or 1 prayer, and they bring... powerful 3 items, right? Elder Robe, top, bottom, and
see with mages all the time with the toxic
the toxic
Staff of the Dead.
Yeah, SOTD, Sodded. Yeah, the SOTD pures.
Staff of the Dead.
So yeah, they like to make it so you can skip unskulled targets. They'd also like to make it so that you can't drop your target while you're fighting them.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that you could do that, and there was little PJ exploits at the time, at least when I was doing Bounty Hunter, where people would do that type of stuff.
Okay.
Because you weren't able to PJ if you're the target. If I'm fighting you and we're both targets, someone can't PJ. But then you could just sit there and eat for a couple ticks and then drop my target, and now all of a sudden we're not you know what I mean? Someone can just PJ me off you. So yeah, they'd like to change that. The final change they'd like to make is that you are required to have a mysterious emblem in your inventory for you to be able to receive one as a drop from killing your target. Players that are unable or unwilling to purchase their first emblem at the Grand Exchange will need to obtain one through Wilderness Slayer.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All sounds pretty fair to me. I don't have any problems with any of these.
Yeah. That is another thing with I feel like that's geared towards specific popular builds, Granite Pures, where they were 70k.
Yep.
But you have an emblem, they don't. And then okay, I'll kill them hoping they drop an emblem. but I don't want to like skip the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like if you were risking a lot in the wilderness, you were at it, or in Bounty Hunter, sorry, you're at a disadvantage on finding a fair fight.
Well, especially when it comes to like pures with like granite malls, because they can spec you out. It doesn't matter if they're lucky. It doesn't matter what you have.
But not just that. It's like, let's say like on my Obby Mauler, which was a common issue, everyone I would bump into, I'd find the odd Obby Mauler willing to fight, but then you'd find Gmaul pures that are like, well, let's fight. And then I bring like, let's say 100k cash, right, to make it even.
Yep.
But then like, no, you have to skull because I'm skull. It's like, okay, well now I'm risking over $1 million. And they're like, okay, so am I. No, you're not. I see at the well thing. You're like not even a coin. You know what I mean? Like you're nothing. You know what I mean?
Feel bad because you should.
But you kind of realize that like when it comes to trying to find a fight, you'd have to just suck it up and fight these guys where you're at a complete disadvantage because Gmaul pures can just crossbow double spec telly, and that's what they would do half the time. Like, I'm not going to fight this guy for too long because eventually he'll kill me. So I'm going to do some cheesy ass shit and then just hope I insta kill him. And then they just peace out. And so like I personally agree with these, but I could see the majority of these people that abuse these goddamn tactics are going to get really upset with like, they don't want to have to fight someone weird.
I gotta find a new exploit.
The only thing I can see like it being a thing where now you'll pretty much always be fighting someone doing the same build as you. True. Because why is a Void Pure gonna want to fight a Gmaul Pure if they can just skip them or like ignore them? Because you know if you like you're not sculling, or maybe that's a bad example, but like I don't know, I guess Staff of the Dead is probably the best example because they're guilty of doing all this shit of like not sculling. If they're nice, they'll bring an emblem, but typically they wouldn't, at least in my experience.
And at lower levels, they don't need a KO weapon because their main attack is their KO weapon.
Yeah.
And they have, the Tomb of Fire, all that stuff. They just stacking you out and you're just trying to out-eat whatever they're hitting you with.
Yeah, that Tome OP. But yeah, and then the penalties, I guess, would be that players must be in the wilderness for at least 6 seconds for the that timer to stop going before the timer stops going down when you're locked in. To the fight. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you leave the wilderness and then the timer starts going.
No, say that again. I'm confused.
Or I'll just okay. So when you leave the wilderness for 2 minutes or log out, it is possible to step in and out of the wilderness or whatever and prevent the 2-minute timer from going down as fast as it should. So if you want to grieve someone, which has happened before, you would be able to like, if you could force people to skip you. So, okay, common tactic, I'll just say like this. You want to fight me? I go, I'll let you kill me. You got to give me 400 or like 40k.
Okay.
And you're like, no, I just want to get into a fight. Okay, well then skip me. You skip them. And then a couple shitty fights, you skip them. And then you bump into like another guy doing the same thing. And now you don't want to skip because you might be on a 30-minute timer.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would hop in and out of the wilderness, log in and out, and you can indefinitely have it where this guy's your target, but he's intentionally making it so the timer doesn't go down.
Gotcha. Okay.
And they want to change that. So like, I feel like at most a 6-second interval.
Okay.
Or at the minimum, it would go down for 6 seconds. Just to prevent, like, one of the many ways of griefing in Bounty Hunter, which is, I think, pretty good. Other PvP changes is that it's possible to instantly destroy mysterious emblems. So if you're fighting someone and they're about to kill you, you could just break your emblem.
Okay.
Which I've never thought of, but I guess it's possible. They do want to add like a 6-second delay, maybe a menu, similar to like Deadman mode, that could be interrupted. So you can't just grieve someone of like, I'm out of food, I'm dead, let me just destroy his T8. He tele-blocked me or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep. And Clan Wars Portal. So, Clan Wars Portal's, abused heavily for run energy, health, prayer, losing skulls, specifically. And they would like to change it so if you lose your skull via the Clan Wars portal, you'll always get a new one when you attack another player, no matter what.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Because what you would do is you would attack someone, hope they don't log in and out, but then one person run to the Clan Wars portal, come back, hit them again so they don't skull, and now you have an unskulled fight. I know it was being abused a lot, and it was something I abused. Just because you want to fight unskulled obby maulers, you don't want to risk like a mil plus depending on what you guys have.
Yeah.
Sometimes like way more depending if you bring in B rings out and all that. I'm not really too sure how I feel about this, but I completely understand why.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's reasonable. So for PvP World Protection, they'd like to change it so that if you engage in combat with another player in a PvP world, you can be attacked by that player for 6 seconds after entering the safe zone. So this is like if they hit you and you hit them back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming this would possibly... I mean, I guess this could help rushing, but if you attack someone, use everything, and then step out of the zone, or you step in and dark bow spec someone and step out...
The guy can run back and attack you for
6 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so this means you'll be able to step in and out of the safe zone without being attacked whilst inside the safe zone. Unless you've attacked another player.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's rushing. I don't know. It's weird, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah.
There's some immunity period, but then not. Like
6 seconds you're going to have to survive. So if you start a fight and then you want to back out and just run back into the Grand Exchange where it's safe, they got 6 seconds to kill you. But you could still teleport to your house.
But also, if I take one step, let's say I'm elking, and I take one step by accident into the safe zone, and I go, oh fuck, it's not like there's like a guy with the dark bow just like waiting, and he took one step too far, dark bow, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or like a rush, like a barrage rush. You'll have 6 seconds of immunity if you step out of the zone until you attack someone as well.
Gotcha.
So it prevents rushers, but also helps them. In that sense, it's like...
Okay, fair enough.
So the next one, which is really interesting, I do feel like we should get into it a bit more, is how the anglerfish works.
Okay.
So, anglerfish is a fish, but the main thing is that it overheals a percentage of your maximum HP.
Yep.
So if you're at 10, it'll bring you up to like 12, but if you're at 99, it'll bring you up to 121, and that's really nice, obviously.
Yeah, it's like what Cerberus do.
Yeah. But better but it's an anglerfish. So
Yep.
Trade-off. But yeah, so anglerfishes are commonly used because of, you know, the overeating, right?
Yeah, you don't have to waste food depending on anything, PVM or PvP.
Yeah. They want to change it so don't worry slay masters and bossers, only in PvP related situations, or PvP and bounty hunter world, sorry. So they would change the overheal effect of anglerfish, and it would only apply when they were outside of combat, when in the wilderness or on a PvP or bounty hunter world.
So you can't overheal in the middle of a fight.
Yeah. Because if you are in the wilderness and you're a tribrid versus another tribrid, the common thing is to eat to 120. It's like a kind of a meme.
Okay.
Like you'll watch some like high risk tribriders. If they drop under 80, they're looking for an out.
Yeah.
And so it's a way to play really safe, because RuneScape, like PvP, there's obviously a lot of skill to it, but a lot of RNG too.
Yeah, because you can spec with weapon get a 73, or you can spec and get a 0.
Yeah, you can do all the right things and be punished, but you can also do all the wrong things and still win.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's RNG. But
we hate it, we love it.
Yeah. So they want to change it so that while in combat, you can't just overheal with anglerfish.
Okay.
Which I do like. I actually kind of like that a lot. It changes specifically like deep wildy tri-breeding. Because you don't bring a bunch of anglerfish. You'll bring maybe like 1 to 4. Like if you're like risking bank and you're like going hard, you bring a lot of brews. It's pretty much your inventory is brews. But you'll bring anglers and brews, and you can like combo eat like so much HP and like overheal so hard.
Yep.
I feel like they wanted anglerfish for max like HP users to be like a panic, like this will heal you, like, you know what I mean, a bunch. And the use of it was like if you were to just eat it at like 85 or something, you're not losing out, a bunch of like health.
Yeah.
You get just a little bit in the 100s, but it's kind of abused heavily. That with obviously like comboing with brews, they're not going to make this change to brews because when you use a brew, obviously all your stats go down except for defense.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a trade-off to overhealing, and you only go up to 116. And yeah, so there's a risk and reward for using brews. So that's probably why they don't want to change it yet.
Which makes sense. I don't know if they should change brews because having to do a restore to get your stats up is probably kind of big. And then you know what I mean? You can't do it too many times because how many super combats do you have?
Yeah, you get pot locked.
Yep.
Which is pretty important. But yeah, on to the next one, I guess, is energy transfer from the Lunar Spellbook was commonly abused in PvP world and wilderness.
Selling energy transfers.
Yep. They want to have it so that the target of the spell must be out of combat for 15 seconds before it can be cast on them. So
fair enough.
Nice little fix to PvP worlds, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then special attacks and teleporting. The term spec tabbing, which is what it sounds, use your special and you instantly teleport.
Used by rushers all the time.
Yeah, rushers and like high risk moments where like, I'm risking it, but you have PID, so you go for the spec and they go for like, both of you guys AGS spec, but you have the PID, you can get your damage off and teleport.
And then run back and loot them if you kill them.
But they won't hurt you if you have PID, so it's kind of busted. So they would like to make it so you're unable to teleport for 3 to 6 seconds after using a special attack while in the wilderness or in a PvP/bounty hunter world. This would also prevent you from entering a player-owned house portal.
I like it.
Risk versus reward. Like, this the risk and reward that I want to see, not like PVMers. You want to risk something? You know what I mean? Like, it's like PvPers. Come on. But yeah. The next one is boxing, which is a pretty common issue in the PvP world, but certain players at PvP hotspot locations will attack another account without dealing any damage or being attacked back, meaning that no one's at the risk. So, if you're player A, you would attack player B in low offensive items, flowers, Farseer helm, Berserker necklace, and you can't hurt people.
Okay.
And the player B tanks the damage and doesn't attack back. So now, because you're in a PvP world, you guys can't get PJ'd because you're both in combat. Because they have like, the PJ rules in that world. And what will happen eventually is that someone will join, someone will show up, player C. Then player A would stop attacking player B, and because player B has been hitting back, they can instantly hit player C.
Okay.
And they want to fix that, so if player A and B, they'd have to be attacking each other, and after a certain period of time, if they're not both hitting each other, they'll be able to be attacked by everyone.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yep.
Prevent that boxing. It's a big enough problem that it leaks into Deadman mode and stuff, right?
Yeah, or more like Deadman mode seem to leak into the actual game itself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, player kills and loot issues. So, there's a ton of them. A lot of issues when it comes to getting loot. But here, I'll just read this one because they said this like 6 times. We've had like 6 parts where we talk about this, and it's still an issue. But, so they say that they've recently made some changes to intended to tackle the issue where a player gets a kill in PvP, but receives no loot. They've made some progress with preventing these instances from happening. It still occurs in certain situations. It's a weird way to say pretty often, though. They like to improve this by changing it so that if your opponent has been out of combat with your previous opponent for 18 seconds, or if they use a bank, you'll be assigned the loot should you kill them.
Nice, okay.
Hopefully, because we've actually talked about this, be like, nice, so they fixed it now? Wait, did they fix it this time? Like, I remember having this conversation, like, at least 3 times this year.
It's a hard one, because I'm sure they're sitting there like, how do we fix this without another issue popping up somehow? Because it tends to happen, right?
Yeah.
But it really came to light when a YouTuber named Torvesta, who does a lot of PvP-related content, he made a video showcasing this bug.
And how was he the one abusing it?
Yeah, he was abusing it.
Yeah, and I think a Framed did it too. Like, all those guys make the same fucking videos. But a lot of people have showcased pretty much how to do it.
Now more people know how to do it, but also the idea is that Jagex would see it and they'd be like, well, we have to get this under wraps.
Yeah. This blog has had a heavy focus on balancing that they're not polling, but they do have some questions that they wanted to poll for a little while, and they'll be polling those instead. So, should it be possible, this is the first one, sorry. Should it be possible for players to purchase the rune pouch from the Slayer reward shop in addition to Bounty Hunter store? This would cost 1,250 points and offer an alternative route to obtaining a rune pouch without requiring PvP. No.
You don't think so?
No, because this straight up is intended for hardcore Iron Man.
Right.
And maybe Iron Man in general, but this is straight up intended for those players. And I feel like hardcore Iron Man, the ones that already have it, okay, might be pissed, but like I feel like there shouldn't. You choose to limit yourself. So the game shouldn't be doing these things to help you later on down the road.
Yeah.
If you're a normal player, you straight up just buy it.
Pretty much.
You just buy the emblems off the GE. It costs like $2 million, but that's how it is.
But now some players could decide like, hey, I could just normally do my Slayer, and then I don't have anything to spend it on. I have these points. I can buy this rune pouch. Because a rune pouch, I would say it's mostly used for PvM over PvP.
I mean, it's really good for PvP, but only like
you don't want to lose it.
Well, good tri-britters, Deep Wildy will use it. You won't find someone in Edgeville using it because like you constantly just get G-mauled out. But if you're like a tri-britter, Deep Wildy, bring in Major and 2 Cape, and there's a lot of those guys out there, they have rune pouches as well. You do lose them on death no matter what, so it's like risky, but I mean, they're the kinds of people that have so much money that they don't mind buying another one.
Yeah.
They're more pissed about losing like a Dragon Defender or like a Major and a 2 Cape.
But my argument is that it's mainly used in PvM, right? It has way more uses in PvM because you don't have to worry about losing it.
The use, it's got one use and you just put runes in it, but it's more commonly used in PvM because you can't lose it.
Yeah, and you can do... Well, and there's so much, with raiding, it's almost like a necessity for someone to have a rune pouch.
Yeah.
Right? To do their water blast. Let's say, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing just random Slayer. You're going to want your Alks in there if you can. Or in bossing, you want your Alks or Bones to Peach spell. You know what I mean? There's Vorkath. You're going to want your rune pouch so you can put your Crumble the Undead.
Yeah, but like, how long did you go without having a rune pouch?
Once you started getting to that end game content, you start realizing you need it, right?
You don't need it, but for me, I was probably like into our podcast at some point because we started. I was like around like level 100. I don't even know. I was like a lot lower level when we.
I
first
definitely
started.
got it at some point where we were recording.
Yeah, and for me, it was like, fuck it. I want one. I'll spend it was like 2.3 mil or something at the time. And I went to the Bounty Hunter World, found a dude, bought all the emblems off of him, and went and did that. That whole exchange is meant for those guys that really enjoy Edgeville PKing to have a way to make money.
Yeah.
And so especially if you add these unpulled changes, even if we don't, that alone, and there's Wilderness Slayer, but that alone created or will take away the market for these, and now PKers are all of a sudden losing all these emblems, and now they're just going to start buying alchables again. It's going to go right back to just buying rune plate legs.
That's a good point. Yeah, this is the item that people will buy emblems for, and you know what I mean? The only other time I'll buy an emblem is when I want to buy looting bags, because you know what I mean? I might die and lose them, and I don't feel like grinding them out, but
it would be the same thing, right? Where what if you use wilderness points to buy a looting bag? What if it was
You mean Slayer points?
That's what I meant, yes. What if you use Slayer points to buy a looting bag? You mean...
The only reason I see this argument making more sense for the rune pouch is because the looting bag is always used in the wilderness.
Yeah, but there's also Wilderness Slayer, right? An alternative way to get emblems.
But the only reason I can make the argument for a rune pouch belonging on the Slayer point shop is because a lot of for PvM you're going to see it a lot more often because you can't lose it.
Yeah.
Although I do agree that because of it, if it goes onto there, it will cause the price of emblems to drop.
My main thing is that if you couldn't buy them through if you couldn't buy them off the Grand Exchange, you had to buy them off other players. But they made it for the Grand Exchange so like PVMers could easily get them, and then PKers could make their money reasonably fast without having a bank stand.
Yeah,
that's fair. But then they're like, well, not everyone wants to get them. Like, you know, Iron Man can't just like PK. That's ridiculous to expect. So let's add it. Let's add. You know, you go to this world, you go to these bounty hunter worlds, you go kill bosses, you have a good chance to get them, and then they add them to like Wilderness Slayer too. So there's like, at this point, it's like, it's become very detached from what its main use was, which was pretty much PvP currency / like EPing. Like, yo, ladies, check out how many tier 10s I got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where people would just kind of show off and like brag about it, take screenshots or stream and just open their bank up for like 4 minutes while they talk to the camera, which you see a lot of PKers do.
What if they raised the price of the Slayer points? They doubled it. 2,500 Slayer points. That's a lot.
I would just like, so like for me, that like what's the point of having it then? You know what I mean? It's like, then my main thing is that it's specifically like it heavily caters towards a game mode that wasn't supposed to be catered towards at all, which is hardcore Iron Man.
Yeah, fair enough.
When Iron Man first came out, Jagex said that they wouldn't do updates to help like for them, but they've done it, and I'm like, you know what? Iron Man as like a whole, I really like that concept, and I'm okay with them making it so they get their own corp instances, you know, because they're getting crash logged. There are some things that, like I'm like, I totally agree with, but then when it comes to like, well, now we have to start catering towards like hardcore Iron Man, and then Ultimate Iron Man 2 maybe, there's like no risk, because there are Ultimate Iron Man that do buy emblems, but then the guy like BS's them and kills them.
Yeah.
Which has happened. There's some good gifs of that. They lose like, you know, hundreds of mil or tens of mil. I'm just like really worrisome about that. And you could make it like 5,000 points, right? You can make it 10,000, whatever. But for me, it would be...
It's a principle thing?
Principle, but then you could raise the number up so high that you're like, that's... You know what I mean? The higher you raise it, the more you're like, okay, this is just for Iron Men that don't want to bother with PvP.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. Like, the only reason I don't think it should be on there is because now that you brought it to like my maybe more aware of it, is that the price of the emblems would drop, which is not a good thing for the PvP scene. Even the PVM scene, if you're out there doing Wildy Slayer, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah, I mean, at some point you will need one. I'm not saying you don't, but that's not for a long time. Like you need one for Xerix, you know,
Vorkath.
I mean, you could get by
the extra food. It starts really helping out. Bandos, it's nice to be able to bring your alks and you bring
the peaches and
stuff
stuff
you can
like that.
fit them all into one rune pouch, so it's nice. So yeah, okay.
We got a couple more poll questions, so I guess we'll move on. But yeah, for the second one, should a grayed out special attack bar appear when weapons without a special attack are equipped? It would be possible to toggle this on and off. It depends if you can interact with it. I'm going to say no. If you guys don't know, but if you're holding a weapon in PvP and PVM, but if you're holding like a weapon with a special attack, and then you swap to another weapon for its special, you can like one tick spec.
Yep.
That's how some people get those like AGSs where they're like, they come out of nowhere. Literally, they're fighting you and they're hitting you with the MMSB, and then boom, your AGS spec. It's because you're able to like one tick because you don't have to wait for the delay for the special attack to appear. And there's things like, but let's say, you know, you don't have something with the special attack, or maybe you accidentally equipped your defender before your DDS, and that changes for the bar to drop or whatever. You'll have to wait a tick for the spec to come up, which makes certain weapons in PvP better. But then it also makes it so in PVM, if you're swapping to like a DDS defender or something like that, you want to make sure you're swapping your weapon first if you're using it just for the spec.
Yep.
So there is like pretty important limitations on like how specking works, and I feel like it balances for PVM and PvP. Or PVM, it's, you know, maybe more skill based to make sure you're swapping your multi-way like item switches correctly, and then PvP, like, it could make an imbalance with certain weapons because some weapons are good, but you can't one tick with them.
Yeah, it brings a little bit of strategy to your equipment setup.
Yeah. So if it was just purely aesthetic and you still had to wait for the one tick for it to like be able to interact with, then I'd be okay with it. But if you can click it and whatever, then yeah. What do you think?
I don't think they should put a grayed out spec bar.
Yeah. It does look weird. I do feel it's weird. I heard people saying that free-to-play users see a spec bar.
Yeah, it might be weird.
The globe, sorry, not the bar.
True.
Like I think that's kind of weird, but the spec bar being grayed out would mean that free-to-play players could see it as well.
I just like the idea of you stumbling across a weapon when you're a noob and like, wow, this has a special attack. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Imagine playing mobile and a week later, you're like, I got special attacks now?
Yeah.
What? How do I special? Hey, got 1 star. I unlock specials, but I can't use them.
Pretty much.
But yeah. So poll question 3. Should the teleports Garrock and the Karlanger, am I saying those correctly? I have no idea. Should those teleports be added to POH portals at a cost of 100 times? Like the number of runes. And should they also add it to the portal nexus for 1,000 times the number of rune usage? Because they're not in the pool of available teleports.
Mm-hmm.
Should it?
I think so.
It doesn't hurt. Just, some new lures, some new scams might be coming out.
Well, we already have a wilderness portal that brings you to the demonic ruins.
Yeah.
We have that. Gorok is just west of the KBD layer by the obelisk. I use it a bunch from going to the Chaos Altar and stuff, so I use you can buy the tabs.
Yep.
So you know what I mean? I don't really see a problem with it.
Yeah, and then the Karlanger, I don't remember.
It brings you to the Graveyard of Shadows, which is 19 wilderness.
Yeah.
So I do feel like, maybe they should bring those in because we already have a wilderness teleport and we have tabs for that anyways. So what's the harm? Yep. The harm is I have to build another room to put these 2 things in, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
This one, I feel like we're going to disagree on this, but poll question 4. Should the recently released spellbook filters available on mobile allow players to hide spells they don't wish to use and make the remaining icons bigger? Also, be added to the desktop version?
I don't see harm in it.
Oh, I see a lot of harm.
How so?
So if you can make your icons bigger, and let's say you're a PvPer, and you can make that Ice Barrage nice and juicy, that Blood Barrage nice and juicy, you're doing Vorkath, now your home teleport, and your Crumble Undead, or like the size of them, like, you know what I mean? Like they're huge now.
I don't think
you can just hide
big.
Well, if you can hide whatever spells you don't want to see, you'll be able to make them much, much bigger. But PKing, it would make Ice Barraging. I guess if you're like super seasoned, you might be used to the muscle memory, but it adds a weird crutch by being able to like inflate the size of an icon.
Yeah, I can see that, but I feel like they had to do it for mobile. I don't know. It just seems like something that
when it comes to high elking, last thing I'll pick apart. When it comes to high elking or tellying or telly high elking, they'll become much harder to detect with auto clickers because there's auto clickers. If you guys didn't know, but you can set parameter like areas, or maybe you just bot clients in general. You can set parameter areas, so it's not you're not hanging out with Gary in the hood.
Okay.
Some weird reference people make. It's like Gary. You ever heard of Gary's Hood?
No.
Okay. Well, you should go hang out with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go check them out afterwards.
Probably don't. You'll get banned. It's an auto clicking thing.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like a pretty old school auto clicking program. Yeah. You like there's bots and like auto clickers that like you set parameters and then you can like set random time intervals.
Yep.
So you could set auto clickers that would click in these big areas at random times, and like, how in the hell are they going to detect that?
True.
Like, I feel like it would just make that specifically because come on, we know someone who's auto clicked like almost max mage and like straight and he didn't get banned.
Yeah,
like they have issues with auto clicking mages. That being said, don't do that shit. Don't risk your goddamn account because you're lazy.
Yeah, because then you're when you do get banned, you'll get upset and make a Reddit post, and then
you'll blame us.
But
No, but-
honestly, I'm kind of indifferent on it. I don't see it that big of a deal with it. But at the same time, I'm okay with how it is now. I'm used to it. I've been using it for years, so really, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no. I feel like you're like doing Chambers of Zarek, and you're a noob, and you're using Water Strike on the fires like I was doing for hundreds of kills.
Same.
You can just left click it. No, but like they're like Vorkath is probably a good example where if you're trying to crumble undead ASAP, like it's nice. I mean, obviously it's annoying if you misclick your spells, but there is like one of the few skills to RuneScape is like being able to click accurately and quickly. And so adding a crutch to that kind of takes out the skill ceiling of that. One of the few basic skills that you need to play RuneScape, which is timing, like precision, and speed with a mouse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
But yeah. And then this one, which I'm kind of excited for, but poll question 5, should the base model of the Dragon Hunter crossbow be changed so it looks less like the Dragon crossbow? And then in the near future, they'd also like to offer the ability to recolor it. So you could use the KBD head, the Vorkath head, or sorry, what the hell am I saying? You can make it look like KBD, maybe make it look like Vorkath, or make it look like Olm through ornament kits that would be unlocked through the Elite and Master Treasure Trails.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that sounds nifty.
Yeah. So I first saw the Olm one. Someone did like a concept art of it on Reddit, and I was like, dude, I never realized how much I wanted to see that in the game.
It looks cool. Olm's not a dragon, though, but it looks cool.
Would you want to know why Olm's considered a dragon?
Why?
Because like back in the day, because Olms are like lizards that live in like mountainy, like underground, wet areas.
Yeah, they don't have feet either, do they?
I have no idea if they do,
I don't think
but
so.
back in the day, they were like people thought those were baby dragons.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause, like Olms are like a real thing, guys.
yeah.
They actually made it. I can't believe they made Olms a real thing. But like, so because I remember like thinking like, why the fuck is that considered a dragon? Why can't I use the Dragon Hunter crossbow in Olm, the Great Olm? And then someone was like, "Yo, check out this wiki." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty smart of Jagex. That's cool."
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I remember you actually brought that up. I think we've talked about this maybe when Chambers of Zarek first came out, something. But yeah, that's cool. That's good call. I forgot about that. Okay, I'm on board.
So that being said, in that last episode, I get confused all the time, or we get confused, or at least I do, with the dragon crossbow and the hunter crossbow.
Yeah,
and they look very similar. One just has like little horns, I guess. Like they're super.
One of them has a dragon head on it,
but it's super hard to differentiate it. The difference.
It is. I was doing KBD for Slayer, and this guy came up and started quote unquote crashing me. I got upset at first, but then I kept getting all the kills. So I was like, you know what, you can stay. You're helping me kill them. And then he was like, oh crap, I brought the wrong crossbow. Because he mixed it up himself.
Yeah. Thanks, idiot, buddy. But like, yeah, like when you're equipping it, it's a lot easier. But in the actual bank itself or in your inventory, it's kind of hard to tell. That being said, I would have liked these to be obtained through like a feat of strength. So let's say you have killed Olm with the Dragon Hunter crossbow 200 times, and now your Hunter crossbow like turns into Olm.
Oh, and so then you get the kill counts on all the other dragons with it, and now you can like transmog.
But then also you could do the same thing like with this one. Look, KBD, Vorkath, Olm. You can like change the color.
All three of them. That's
and
a cool
it's linked to that one. One, I think treasure trails are cool, but like it just adds another item that you're hoping for that you're never gonna fucking get. And you get, hey, I did an elite and I got 80k. You know what I mean? But like,
yeah. So
the main reason why I say that is that the Dragon Hunter crossbow, it's very expensive, and in my opinion, I think, well, obviously Vorkath being like the best money maker, and it being like the second best item at Olm for Xerix, makes it expensive, but also because it's a niche item, you're able to buy and sell it. Like if you have 100, whatever, is it 120 mil now? 110 mil? It changes a bit, but
yeah, something like that.
It spiked up because of the RuneFest, the Hydra rumors of them maybe being a dragon type. But because it's a niche item, you're willing to spend more money and then just sell it afterwards.
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's true.
You're like, oh, I'm going to just go kill like 300 Vorkaths this weekend. So I'll buy it, get the kills, and I'll sell it. I might lose a mill or two, but I'll be getting 7 kills a trip, maybe 4 to 8 kills a trip, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, it's not like a permanent investment. Like, hell, I bought mine at 50, saw it hit like 110, 120. I was like, fuck it, and I just sold it.
Yeah, a lot of people sure did it or wished they did.
Yeah, and I only held onto the crossbow that long because I knew it was going to keep going up and up, especially when people found like all the uses and then Vorkath coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you were to add like a transmog, like a feat of strength directly related, it'll make players want to hold on to them a bit more and not just like insta buy, insta sell. Like, you want to actually like unlock some cool things with it.
It's a good idea. It's a cool idea, but then do you do that with the Dragon Hunter Lance and every other Dragon Hunter weapon we get in the future?
See, I would say maybe only because like
it's kind of cool. It gives
dragons are iconic to RuneScape,
and it gives this new category of weapons to be completely unique compared to all the other weapons.
Yeah,
Dragon Hunter, that you can transmog them when you get X amount of kills.
Yeah,
with it.
Yeah,
and maybe with Olm you just kill the hand. You know what I mean? You just
like some like I just threw like random numbers, but like something that like actually would take time that you want to like enough time that you don't want to just discard because it went up 10 mil.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I like it.
Poll question 6. Should the inventory icon of the Justicar or Justiciar or the Justicar, however you guys call it, because there's like 18 different ways people call it, but the leg guards, should they be changed slightly so they look less like the Ancestral Row Bottoms? This is like first world problems right here. If you're like,
yeah.
I accidentally put on my Ancestral Robe instead of my Justiciar legs all the time.
Sure, though, if it's a problem.
If it's a problem for those 6 people, no, but like, yeah, if it's a problem for you, I guess so.
It's the inventory icon. As long as you're not going to get wacky and do what RuneScape 3 did and alter it so you don't know. You look at an inventory item and you're like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Yeah. Biggest gripe about RuneScape 3, but whatever.
Yeah, is that a granite plate body or a Bandos chest plate? I can't tell. Oh, it's Darok.
Well, with RuneScape 3, it's like...
Is it a rune full helmet or like...
Is it a rune full helmet or is it a law rune? Or is it just like...
Well, what do you...
Like with RuneScape 3, the icons, I'll look at something and I can't tell what it is. I can't even tell if it's an armor sometimes, depending on what it is.
Oh.
You can't tell if it's an armor or if it's like just leather or if it's just something... Yeah, I have no idea.
I've never had like that much of an issue, but
I do all the time.
I have it where it's like Barrow's armors, where I'm just like thinking of it being. I mean, I don't play RS2, but when I played a little bit, this is Darok. What is, you know what I mean?
Obviously, that's like a me issue because it does take time to get used to. But one of
Yeah.
my biggest gripes when I get into that, then I'm like, it's so hard for me to adjust.
Yep. But yeah, that's it for the poll questions. I do like how there's some of them that like I saw being suggested a while ago, and they took this week to like put them in, which is nice because there's a lot of things that we wanted to be pulled, but it seems like they never have time. So now if we get PvP related updates, I think that's when they'll like add the random like, oh, this is our backlog of quality of life / random things to pull.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Yeah, that's it for the news. Not super like content heavy, but it is at the same time.
In that case, shall we move it right on to the lore?
Yep.
Although time does not pass in the abyss at the same rate that it passes everywhere, I have been imprisoned for an unimaginably long time, since the day when the gods fought for dominion of the mortal realm. I leave this book as a token of fair trade to the human who has given me the wherewithal to escape from the abyss. By absorbing power from the abyssal sire's spine, claw, and axon, I am able to break free of my prison. During the wars of the gods, all sought allies in every realm they could reach. I broke into the abyss in the hope that the creature here could be turned to our cause, but found myself trapped and unable to escape, while the gods continued without me. But now that I am free, I shall not be so easily imprisoned again. The human who brought me the means of escape did not fully understand my purpose. I merely promised to construct a weapon for him using the component parts of the abyssal sires. Nevertheless, I am bound by my word and constructed the weapon. I have now imbued into this book the power required to construct such weapons. The human may create abyssal bludgeons whenever he wishes, simply by using the 3 constituent parts on this book. That was the transcript of the Overseer's book. And if you aren't aware, this week we are talking about the Abyssal Sire, as well as the Abyssal Nexus and the Abyss in general. So what exactly is the Abyss? We've talked in the past about how there are different planes in the universe. A plane is basically just a different dimension. The Abyss is known as the glue that sits between different realms or planes and holds them together. Because it is not a normal plane, but instead is almost a subplane that sits in between others, this is why we are able to craft runes without talismans, and why almost every rune is craftable within this area. The laws of this plane are not the same as others. Within the Abyss, many demons reside here, but this was not always the case. Originally, demons lived in a realm or plane known as Infernus. Many of the demons within the Infernus were the race Thonians, whereas the other demons within that realm are known as Infernals. At some point within the Infernus, the Infernal demons and Thonian demons began to war against each other. Before the God Wars, Zeros entered the Infernus realm, where he persuaded the Thonians the ability to travel through other planes and onto Gielinor. This caused a major civil war within the Infernus between the Infernals and the Thonians. There was also a sub-race of demons known as the Avernics, which were used as slaves. Most of these Avernics were forced to side with the Infernals. The aftermath of this civil war caused the Thonians to be banished into the Abyss. Abyssal demons were not some of the ones that were banished, but instead were recruited during the God Wars, as we talked last week, through the portal in Vigora's fortress. While these Thonians were in the Abyss, their food supply began to run low. Some of the demons took it upon themselves to figure out a plan. They began to construct these quote-unquote machines within the Abyss. These would later be known as the Nexus, and it allowed certain demons to rest in a stasis state for centuries. This way, they did not have to feed, but could still live in the Abyss. The Abyssal Sires carry unborn demons within them, known as Unsired. The Overseer, as we talked earlier, was a follower of Zamorak, who was sent to the Abyss to recruit some of these demons to fight for their side. Once the party of recruiters came here, they found they were unable to leave, and became infected by the Abyss, which turned them into a parasitic organism, trapped within. Unlike the Abyssal Sires, they are not hooked up to the Nexus, which means they are not in any stasis state. The Overseer rewards any humans that brings it unsired demons, as he requires the unborn demons to feed and to stay alive. And next week, we will continue with some of the Slayer bosses within Old School RuneScape. And now we're back for the fun stuff. We get to go to the Grand Exchange to tell you guys about some of the fun things we got going on. Is it fun things? We got things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Our first thing is, if you're interested in listening to books, maybe you don't want to read books, maybe you're not a reader, maybe you can't read, well, you can still listen to them. You can go to audibletrial.com/wild. You get a free month and a free audiobook where you can choose a book that you want to read.
If you can't read, though, just pick any of them, I guess.
Yeah,
just
pick any of them, or use like a voice to text kind of thing.
Yep.
And then choose one at random from there. Maybe you want to listen to some erotic novels.
Yep.
You could do that, or maybe you have you want to get the RuneScape guide. I don't know. I don't think it's
that. I looked it up.
Oh, it's not on there.
Yeah,
Okay, so don't do that one.
I looked up.
But you could do something else.
There's books on quitting smoking.
Yeah, quitting if you want to quit smoking, or if you want to quit gaming. Maybe you're just an addict.
Maybe for Christmas, people in your family are like, "Hey, Deegan, here's 2 books on video game addiction." Nudge, nudge.
Can we read chapters of that on the show?
We could.
Oh, I got a perfect idea. Okay, anyways, audibletrial.com/wild. Check out all that fun stuff. But if you want to support the show directly, you can do that at patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. And our supporter of the week is Isaiah. So thank you very much for your support. We greatly appreciate it. And just an overall thank you for that. Maybe what we could do is, now that mobile client's out, we can get a mobile app for the Wilderness Podcast. It's useless, isn't it?
I don't know. Will we have a Discord Patreon link? That's it. It's actually just our Patreon link, and you click it, and it's like,
hold your thumbprint here, and then, oh, you've accepted, and now you're subscribed into it. $100 a day for the. But hey, at least you get the newsletter once a week. But
yeah,
it's really
you're gonna shout. No, we wouldn't shout them out because then they'd know that they accidentally subscribed.
Yeah, we would. You get listed a number. So when I was in math class in high school, we had a teacher who was new to Canada and she was Chinese, so she had trouble with all the Canadian names, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Tanner,
yeah, and Skip, Chip, Dip.
I was trying to think of like Chance, like really douchey, like
Chase.
White kids. You know what I mean? Rich white kids. They're just like, yo, it's me, Tanner from high school.
Never knew a Tanner.
That meme.
RuneScape has a lot of Tanners. Well,
nice.
Not really a lot of them.
Alcarad.
There's some of them. Yeah, there's some of them.
Yeah.
But she would assign everyone numbers. I was number 13. And yeah, so she would go. So that's what we could do. We could assign someone a number. We could be like, Isaiah, you're number 2. We skip 1, so then they don't realize they're the first one. And then, but we don't tell them they're number 2. It's something that hopefully just clicks one day.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, maybe stay tuned for the Wilderness mobile app. Maybe we'll release a game.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of content creators do that at some point.
Yeah. It'll be like Candy Crush mixed with Clash of Clans.
Yeah. Maybe Hearthstone. Some Hearthstone stuff in there.
Is it really I don't know. Fortnite? V-Bucks.
Yeah. Some W-Bucks.
Yeah.
Some Wild Bucks. Anyways, yeah, thank you. And thank you to everyone else who supports the show. We can't thank you guys enough. You guys are the best. And when the mobile Wilderness podcast app does come out, you guys will be the first ones to know. And you will get a credit. No. When you purchase an in-app purchase, we will double that. No, that's...
Like double charge them?
No, well, we could do that too. But then they get like a... You know how they do that? You'll go to a site and like, hey, when you purchase X amount of dollars from us, we'll match it. And you're like, well, I don't want to pay anything, but I guess I will.
We'll just set a cap with this. Our app will be $5. You buy the app. There's no in-app purchases.
And it's just dollar signs when you open it up.
Well, like you guys don't know. It could be...
It's a loot box.
Yeah, well, like, it could be... It's a mysterious app. It could be worth like $200. Maybe you hit a button and maybe someone will just instantly trade you. They'll find you and give you 200 mil in the game. Whenever you want. Maybe it's just a button that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But you'll find out after $5.
Yeah, it's all about the gamble of it.
Yeah.
You feeling lucky?
Yeah, maybe you hit it and you see the Fortnite default dance.
Solid. Anyways, moving on. We have some things that we have to talk about going on the show. Actually, one thing in particular is the Connect 4 tournament. We'll be giving away... I'm thinking we're going to give away like 3 bonds to the winner. No, the winner will win 2 bonds. The second place will get a bond. We might increase it though. I haven't actually ironed out the details, but there will be rewards. Yeah, if you're interested, it will be November 10th. I'm thinking around 7 p.m. EST, but we're gonna see what works out for everyone else. It's gonna be sometime in the evening though. But yeah, stay tuned for the information on Discord. We have our a channel meant for the tournament itself, and yeah, we're gonna be looking to do the tournament at 7 p.m. EST on November 10th. So do get in on that if you are interested. And anyways, our in-game clan chat is WildCC. Our Twitter is @TheWildernessRS. Our Facebook is facebook.com/TheWildernessPodcast. There's also a Facebook group that you can join on the page. And our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. And our Discord is pinned on Twitter and Facebook. Deegan, you got your things you want to throw out
Twitch,
there?
Twitter, DeganRS.
Yeah, perfect. Streamlined. My Twitch is the Dills. I don't stream often, but I do plan on streaming this event. So if you're interested in that, then check it out. Our song of the week, keeping in line with some dragon stuff. The song is The Forsaken, and it is a music track that is unlocked in the Lithgren Vault during Dragon Slayer 2. And of course, composed by Ian Taylor. And that's all we got for you guys this week. So till next week, we'll catch you then.
Yeah, have a good one.
Take it easy.
Beautiful Anonymous changes each week. It defies genres and expectations. For example, our most recent episode, I talked to a woman who survived a murder attempt by her own son. But just the week before that, we just talked the whole time about Star Trek. We've had other recent episodes about sexting in languages that are not your first language, or what it's like to get weight loss surgery. It's unpredictable, it's real, it's honest, it's raw. Get Beautiful Anonymous wherever you listen to podcasts.